purposes, we want to build a public relationship with the next Mayor of Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, announce that Peterborough citizens have arrived, make meaningful progress on our tasks. We hope to achieve all of these, but you will be the judge during our evaluation. Tonight is the beginning, not the end, of our organising.
Good evening, one and all. I'm Althea Andrade, Deputy Head Girl at St. John Fisher, an active member of the Peterborough Citizens Youth Mental Health Action Team, and your co-chair at tonight's event. We're part of Peterborough Citizens, which is part of the community organising charity Citizens UK. Locally, we are an alliance of schools, charities, mosques, churches, colleges, and universities, with thousands of people in our organisations. Together, we harness our collective power to find out what matters to our members, build accountable relationships with people in power to transform our communities for the common good. Peterborough Citizens launched in September last year. In the last 7 months, the leaders and citizens of Peterborough have demonstrated an appetite for the involvement in the public life of the city. We have engaged over 2,000 people within our listening, have a dedicated youth team working on improving mental health services with our local MP and senior CCG members, and a dedicated campaign team working across our member organizations. Tonight, we have both power and opportunity. We will be joined by our mayoral candidates from the Liberal Democrat, Labour, and Conservative parties. As an alliance, we bring with us a series of proposals which we built through months of listening and research. We want our candidates to commit to working positively with us on this agenda and helping to deliver the improvements we want to see in our city. Before we meet our mayoral candidates, the leaders of Peterborough Citizens will now introduce themselves. Peterborough Citizens believe in building people power. This means different people from all walks of life, building relationships with one another. Our roll call recognizes those organizations who are part of our alliance and are publicly committed to working together for the common good. But making change also requires money. The money we pay for membership of our alliance ensures our independence. It enables us to decide our own priorities. Our dues pay for training, actions, and the skills of a community organizer to develop the leaders in our organizations so we can invest in the community. The following member organizations have committed to paying dues to officially become members in September of 2021. Peterborough Citizens are committed to a non-partisan democracy, giving power to the people through engaging citizens in politics and redefining the conventional form of democracy. Let's recognize the membership of Peterborough Citizens who have filled the room this evening in our roll call procession. Let's welcome our members. We will begin with our current strategic partners who are committed to Peterborough Citizens for the long term and have committed to putting in £5,000 per year. Inspire Education and Thomas Deacon Education Trust. Rachel and Julie have been vital in driving and building the Alliance of Peterborough Citizens with a passion for bettering our city. Peterborough Cathedral, Neen Park Trust, Unison, and ARU as aspiring strategic partners and our new members. Please tell us your name, institution, position at your institution, and how many people you have brought here tonight. And why did you join the Peterborough Citizens Alliance? You have 1 minute each for your introductions, and as you know, we'll keep you account to your timekeeping. Rachel Nichols.
Thanks, Althea. Hello, everyone. What a fantastic evening, and it's absolutely brilliant to see so many people engaged in tonight's event. My name is Rachel Nichols. I'm Principal of Peterborough College and Deputy CEO of Inspire Education Group, which includes Peterborough College, Stamford College and University Centre, Peterborough. I'm really pleased to say that I think we've got about 40 people on the call tonight representing the group, which is fantastic. And we've been part of Peterborough Citizens since inception and are proud to be part of the Alliance. For me, I strongly believe that it's time for a different type of politics. It's time for us all to engage with democracy, contribute to make Peterborough a fantastic city for its citizens. At its core, Peterborough Citizens is about people power, it's about relationships, it's about working together to influence decision makers, tackle social injustices and bring about positive change. And for me, that's what education is all about as well. It's the reason I became a teacher over 20 years ago, the desire to make a difference and improve the life chances and opportunities of the students we serve. And I'm really hopeful tonight is the start of something significant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julie Taylor.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so excited to be here this evening. It really is something fantastic and something we should all be immensely proud of across our city. I'm the Chief Executive for Thomas Deacon Education Trust, and I don't know how many people I've brought tonight, lots of people, and I'm really proud of that. The reason I became involved with Peterborough Citizens UK was because, very much like Rachel, I believe in the power of education and the way in which we can shape and form things for our city. I'm proud of the number of families and children that we serve, over 5,000 people. And I really wanted to use this to show the young people the value of being part of a democratic society. I think it's become far too easy recently for young people in particular to have little or no faith in politics. And particularly at a local level, I want them to know that their voices can be heard and what they say will be listened to, and they can make a difference.
Sorry, but the
Got
time.
my minute.
Yep. I have to move on. Chris Dallaston.
I'll keep it short. We've been around for 900 years in our present building, which is one great iconic structure of Peterborough, but it's not just a building, it's about a community, a faith community, for which the well-being of the city and its identity are really, really important. Justice is a core Christian value, and empowering people to find the fullness of life, which we believe God promises and wants for everybody, is part of what the democratic process should be about. And so we want to support it if we can, and there are, I think, about 8 members of our cathedral governing body and governing structures here tonight.
Thank you. Tim Roberts.
Hi everybody, my name is Tim Roberts. I'm from the Public Services Trade Union Unison. We fundamentally believe that we create change in our society and our workplaces when people come together. So as a trade union, we talk about how workers can come together and talk and improve their workplaces. But Unison is a citizenship trade union too, because workers don't only work in public services, they use public services. So we're always committed to the agenda shared by Citizens UK, which is around making our communities and our city better for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And a recent new member of ARU, Ross Renton or Michael Milan.
Thank you. It's going to be both of us, but my name's Ross Renton. I'm the inaugural principal of ARU Peterborough, and we're establishing a brand new university in the centre of the city. But it's more than buildings, it's about people. We want to be an active part of the community and the education family here in Peterborough, working in partnership to be a civic university and supporting social mobility. And universities, for me, are at the heart of a functional democracy. We will want to have students who engage, debate, challenge and lead. Our role is for the public good, it's to inspire and it's to change lives. And I'm going to hand over to Michael to see who's here and a little bit more about ARU. Michael.
Thank you, Ross. So I'm Michael Milan. I'm part of the Leaders Group. I'm responsible for research and for external engagement in ARU, including around Peterborough. ARU as a whole sees itself very much, as Ross has already suggested, as a university of the region. So it's really critical for us to be part of Peterborough Citizens UK and be part of what's happening in this important city where we're growing our presence. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome all our fantastic members of the Peterborough Citizens Alliance here tonight, who will share their name and position at their institution and how many people they brought tonight. You have 30 seconds each. Kim Coley.
Hi, I'm Kim Coley from Soul Happy. I think I brought around 10 people. Why did I join? I joined so that I could learn more about effective processes for social change. I know I'm here, I know I've incarnated to make a difference to our planet, so I need to start with where I live, and that includes environmental change and change for well-being and mental health.
Thank you so much, Kim. Colin Baxter. Hamid Chaudhry.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Hamid Chaudhry and I'm a committee member of Masjid Khatija. We feel it's important to drive and be part of Voice for Change for our city. We want to empower our members, our congregation, as well as our community to be part of that journey of change so that we can all collectively be stakeholders of our city. So this is the reason why we're so excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick Morley. Sarah Gower.
Hi there, I'm part of the Diocese of Ely. Peterborough has two dioceses, Peterborough and Ely. And as Chris was talking about the cathedral, we are part of vicars and ministers across the city in smaller parts of the community. And together, we can come together and for Peterborough and bringing all of our learning and community together. And that's why I have joined and I've been part of it, not quite from the beginning, but nearly. And I'm delighted to be here and see so many people. Thank you
so much. Kate Hall.
Hello, I'm the creative producer at Jumped Up Theatre and Peterborough Culture Forum. We want to be part of working with others to create social change and better quality of life for people in Peterborough. And we can't do that on our own. We need to work with everybody.
Thank you. Jane Driver.
Hello, I'm Jane Driver. I'm Deputy Principal at Queen Catherine Academy. Just really excited to be here and work together with the community to improve things in the city.
Thank you. Bernard Barker. Tim Hall.
Good evening, everybody. Tim Hall from University Centre Peterborough. We've been a driving force in setting up this alliance, and we've brought 10 people tonight. The key reason why we're engaged in this is we want to link up with partner schools in the city, and we want to be central to the civic life of the city. So that's why we're here, and it's lovely to be here.
Thank you so much. And welcoming our potential member leaders, Adrian Meadows.
Good evening, everybody. It's lovely to be here this evening and to see so many people. I'm Adrian Meadows. I'm the head teacher of the Peterborough School, obviously in Peterborough. I've got Charlotte, Amelia, Jasmine and Daria here tonight, and possibly a few others as well. And it's great to be part of this process, which enables so many young people to have a voice in the future processes that affect our city. And it's great to be here, so thank you.
Thank you. And Atul Karia.
Hi there, my name is Atul Karia. I'm Assistant Head Teacher at St John Fisher Catholic High School in Peterborough. We're at the heart of Peterborough, and we feel that our students are really developed within the school to challenge us in how to do things. And the mayoral candidates could learn a lot from listening to our students, listening to young people tonight, and hopefully developing some of the strategies they have in helping Peterborough become a stronger community and a better place to live.
Thank you. We would now love to hear in the Zoom chat who else is here from other organizations. Please introduce yourself in the Zoom chat.
And let's also hear from Matthew Bradbury from Neame Park Trust.
Thank you to Raj. Yes, I'm Matthew Bradbury. I'm late, apologies, and I'm Chief Executive of Neame Park Trust. Delighted to be part of Citizens UK here in Peterborough. I think one of the main reasons that we've become involved is wanting to become much closer and much more understanding of the communities that we're working with on a day-to-day basis. But especially, I think, to help empower people as well within the city to be able to make their own decisions and to support democracy at a local level. So I'm very pleased to be here this evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Althea. Well, good evening, and for those of you who've joined a little late, my name is Rachel Nichols. I'm a Principal of Peterborough College and Deputy CEO of Inspire Education Group, and I'm co-chairing tonight's event alongside our wonderful students and also Hamid Chowdhury. And I'm a really proud member of Peterborough Citizens. Before we meet our mayoral candidates, which we're all here to do, there's a few bits of housekeeping that I must run through. So first of all, Peterborough citizens values time. You've already seen that at hand tonight. We're very, very hot on timekeeping. So I'll be doing the timekeeping for our mayoral candidates to ensure that everyone that speaks tonight stays true to the time. So we'll be really strict about it. I have my trusty stopwatch, so at 3 minutes it will be. Secondly, as Peterborough citizens, we uphold high standards of respect and dignity. So we make the following requests of you all tonight. First of all, we want to raise the bar in public life, demonstrating that organised people through their institutions can work respectfully with local politicians to strike public relationships to deliver real change. So this is a public event for action, not a hustings. Secondly, we are disciplined leaders and disciplined individuals that strive to make a difference. So no shouting and screaming. This isn't Prime Minister's questions time this evening. And so please, Peterborough citizens, let us agree that whatever happens, there'll be no booing, no heckling. We will be dignified and respectful. If you want to cheer by using the Zoom emojis when you hear something that you like, please feel free to do so. If you don't like something that someone says, just simply stay silent and use the chat function to share your thoughts. We will remove attendees that do not respectfully stay within these rules, and I hope you understand that. So we would like to invite the mayoral candidates to share their visions for Peterborough City. I'm sure we're all looking forward to hearing what they have to say. So they each have 3 minutes to share their vision with us. And after they have spoken, we'll break out into random rooms where you can then all share your vision and reflection on what you have heard from the city and about the city with your fellow citizens. So let's get to it. I hope you're ready to hear from our mayoral candidates. So as a reminder, Aidan, Nick and James, you each have 3 minutes, and I will politely stop you at the end of that 3 minutes, and I hope you will appreciate that. So first up, let's welcome the Liberal Democrat mayoral candidate, Aidan van der Wear. Aidan, you have 3 minutes to share your vision for the city. Welcome, Aidan.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this is a really wonderful opportunity to speak to you, and more importantly, to listen to you, to get to know you a bit better, and just to see how many people from across Peterborough are coming together is really amazing. I grew up 10 miles south of Peterborough, and so I came here to Peterborough City for all sorts of reasons. I had my tonsils out in the hospital. I learned to swim in the regional pool. I've lived most of my life in different parts of Cambridgeshire, and so I know and love the whole area. I know what's special about it, but I also know what some of the problems that we face are, like structural inequality, like a school system that often doesn't help kids reach their potential, like a degraded nature and excessive carbon emissions, like poor quality housing. And it'll be really interesting to discuss some of these issues in more detail this evening. I think we've got a real opportunity now as we come out of the pandemic, and as we become more aware and sensitive to the state of the environment and to the inequalities that have been exacerbated by the pandemic, to make Peterborough greener and fairer. The Mayor has considerable resources and powers, as well as a prominent leadership role, both within communities in Cambridge and Peterborough, but also with outside bodies as a voice for the area. Among the things that I would want to do as Mayor, I mean, one of the big powers we've got is around housing, investment in housing, and in particular affordable housing. I think that's not just about sort of the numbers of housing, but houses, but also about the quality and how they contribute. The investments in housing can contribute to improvements of the whole of an area. We've got a real problem with sustainable transport not being sustainable enough, so we can have a real revolution in that, supporting cycling. I've been creating a whole networks of cycling around the city, linking up the really good quality areas with safe and attractive cycling routes, improvements to buses. We were actually all agreed on the need to franchise buses and really improve the services so that they do serve the whole of communities. I've talked to lots of people in Peterborough who do depend on buses and really regret the reduction in services. And with the rail line going through the city, we've got an opportunity to create new stations. The environment is absolutely crucial. We need action now on carbon emissions, doing things like improving quality of insulation in housing, and transport as well. The other big thing we've got some power on. Improving our nature. The Forest of Peterborough idea is really good, so it's very supportive of that. I think we need to be thinking much more about networks of nature than other things. Just very quickly, a couple of things on skills. I mean, with the opportunity to really boost apprenticeships, making links between employers and potential apprentices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aidan. Thank you. It's always difficult to interrupt, but I'm
it is
told I
difficult
must be very strict about it, but thank you very much. Thank you, Aidan. Next, please, everyone welcome the Labour mayoral candidate, Dr. Nick Johnson. Nick, you have 3 minutes to share your vision for the city. Welcome, Nick.
Welcome, and thank you to everybody as part of Citizens UK, Citizens Peterborough, for giving up your time tonight. Well, I'm just going to start saying wow, I'm a bit blown away. I mean, I am here to listen, but I know you're here to listen to me, so I won't dodge the bullet here. Look, I'm a children's doctor. I'm based in Huntingdon, Hinchinbrook, but that's actually linked with the NHS Trust that is in Peterborough, North West Anglia. And as such, been doing that for 15 years, and I do spend quite a bit of time in Peterborough with my job. I know about the problems of parking at the hospital, for instance, and indeed transport, big issue there. But look, where do I come from? I'm trying to give an idea of different politics. I'm coming from the world of the NHS, and although I've got some experience working as a counsellor in St Neots, I see the world in a slightly different way. I've talked particularly about the idea of 3 C's to be applied to all policy. That's the 3 C's of compassion, cooperation, and community. And you know what? As I've been sitting here tonight, I've immediately just come up with it. There's 3 P's out there, and that's Peterborough's people power. So for me, when you were asked the question, what was people power in Peterborough, for me it's about the 3 C's: compassion, cooperation, and community. So where do we take it? What is special about Peterborough? Well, I'm going to go a little bit off the record here. I am absolutely delighted by the proposal that is coming out of the Labour group campaigning in the county council elections to create a city of culture. I actually think that's a wonderful thing. I suspect, in terms of maybe some of the younger members here, and indeed, well, no, let's not stop it with the young. It's about everything. It's about a sense of giving place to a city that often appears a bit downtrodden. You have nothing to apologise for. My experience of being around Peterborough, getting down to the city centre, it is a brilliant, vibrant place, and the mayor has to work with you. So I could say lots of ideas. I could certainly say I've talked a lot about the idea of particularly investing in public transport with a particular emphasis on the bus network, ideally taking responsibility. Me, as a leader of the combined authority, taking responsibility for all the buses coming into the city, moving around the city, linking completely with the whole of what I would class as Greater Cambridgeshire. And yes, that's another idea. We talk about the combined authority of Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. Why apologise? Why put Peterborough on at the bottom? Let's talk about a bigger picture here, where Peterborough doesn't feel left behind, and we talk about Greater Cambridgeshire. There are many, many challenges, and I know that we're going to talk about mental health. Look, I've got an NHS background, a medical background, and I do know an awful lot about how mental health links with issues around physical health, and it's a big, big problem coming out of the post-COVID situation as to how we move forward. Some of the things that have happened in the COVID era, some of them were good. We learned about home working. We learned about building things in our own community, but we've got to move on.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Right, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks, Nick. And so next, and finally, let's welcome the Conservative mayoral candidate, James Palmer. James, you have 3 minutes to share your vision. And again, I'll be strict with time. Welcome, James.
Well, thank you very much. And first of all, can I just say that I'm so delighted that this group has been formed. One thing that Peterborough has been missing, from my perspective, has been a group like this for the mayor to engage with. I'm looking forward, if I am re-elected, to engaging regularly with you. In Peterborough, we've invested more money in Peterborough as a combined authority than anywhere else in the county, particularly based around the new university on the embankment, the first technical university in the UK. It's going to be, I believe, a something that will transform the fortunes of the city, and we are already seeing the benefit of that investment. On the back of the university, we're seeing the Peterborough United Football Club, who want to move their new stadium into the same area. I want to work alongside them to create that as not just a football venue, but an arts venue as well, to replace the arena for the centre of the town. And investment into the centre of the town that's coming on the back of the university includes redevelopment of the station quarter and North Westgate, and we will create a new leisure-based city centre. Clearly, people are moving away from the traditional shopping, but they still will want to congregate in the centre of cities. We want to make sure that Peterborough is ready and at the vanguard of that new type of leisure offer. And Combined Authority has already invested in the short term around 700,000 into new seating areas for the city centre itself. Alongside that, when it comes to housing, the 100k home is my policy to get young people on the housing market. Young people, working people, are the ones who are traditionally cut out of housing, forced into generation rent. This is the policy that will move them into home ownership. And I think it's a really exciting opportunity. And alongside Peterborough University, Peterborough City Council, if I'm re-elected, I will work with them and the current MPs in the area to deliver 10% of all housing in Peterborough as 100k home. And we know if people are educated and they're healthy and they own their own home, they're more likely to be healthier, and part of that investment to create healthier and better educated across Cambridgeshire and Peterborough has been the work that we've been doing in adult education. In my 4 years, we have doubled the spend in adult education in Peterborough, and the government have seen what we've been doing across the county, and they're impressed, and they've given us an extra £1 million to that budget. So creating more and more education opportunities for all people in Peterborough is absolutely key. What we have, I believe, is the most exciting time for Peterborough since it became a new town. I think that Peterborough is on the cusp of absolute greatness. And it's the investment from the Combined Authority, alongside the investment from government, the work with the City Council that we are doing together, that's going to create this extraordinary new vision for this wonderful city. We've started it, we're certainly not finished yet, and there's lots of work to do, but we're on our way.
Thanks, James. Thank you very much. Thank you, Aidan, Nick and James for sharing your vision for the city. Right, so we'd now like to ask you all of you as Peterborough citizens, what is your vision for the city, and how are you reflecting, thinking about what you've heard from the candidates? So we're now going to break out into virtual rooms, only for 5 minutes. You don't need to do anything, it will all be done for you. Just stay on the call. You'll have 5 minutes then to discuss and share your thoughts with the people in your group. Try to stick to 1 minute each, make sure you hear from everyone, and then after 5 minutes we'll return to the main group and we'll resume tonight's evening. So get ready for your breakout rooms and see you in 5 minutes.
Hey folks, we really encourage you to go join your breakout rooms. Go meet some new people in your city. There you go, people are joining. Fabulous. What is your vision for the city after you've heard the candidates? Please go and join a room. For those of you still in this room, if you'd like to, if you haven't joined a breakout room, if you want to share what your vision for the city is, put it in the chat. That may be a way if you're not able to join a breakout room.
Kate, your little puppy.
She's gone mad. It's like 6 o'clock here and she knew I needed her to be quiet.
Oh, oh, she's welcome though. She looks very cute.
We've only had her 3 days, so we don't know what we're doing.
It's a bit like a baby, isn't it? Just throw food at them. Hello, if you've just joined, everyone's just in breakout rooms discussing what the vision is for the city. So if you'd like to discuss that in the chat, what is your vision for Peterborough City? We've just heard from the mayoral candidates, now let's hear from you. Daniel, I don't know what the warning is for people coming back.
So whilst we're waiting for everyone else to join, if you heard anything in that last few minutes that you discussed with your other group members, feel free to put a comment in the chat and we'll just wait for everybody else to join the call.
I'm very impressed at how you're coordinating these things. Yeah, you need a degree in IT sometimes to get these things working.
It can be a challenge. It can be a challenge. Well, I think that is everyone back now. Yes, thanks for the thumbs up, Daniel. So I hope you enjoyed hearing from the candidates and also meeting your fellow citizens and perhaps sharing your reflections on what you've heard and sharing your vision for the city. If you heard anything that you felt you were really inspired by, put a comment in the chat and we will maybe take a look at some of those comments now. So Michael, mental health and crime were big issues. Yep, Sarah, more good to speak to others who have joint interest in our city. Yes, that's common sense of purpose is really great, isn't it? Lisa, mental health a real concern for all of us and more awareness of this for younger children. I guess that something that you wanted to hear more about. Let's just, they're all popping in. Equal access was a common topic. Yeah, safety for girls and more teaching on sexual harassment and how it is wrong from Elizabeth. Dylan, Peterborough should have equal chance for everyone in what they need. How are we doing for time? Yeah, so there's some comments there, lots and lots of comments in the chat. Read through them, really interesting and something maybe for some of the candidates to note as well. And thanks for your contribution. That's absolutely brilliant. Happy to pass over to Hamid. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Samir Chowdhury. As I mentioned earlier, I'm part of the Mashriq Khatija management team and a leader within the Peterborough Citizens Alliance, and I am your co-chair for this evening. We launched the Alliance in September. However, before ASEDOS got organised, a group of students from TDA had already begun training with Peterborough citizens. They listened to their fellow citizens and found that mental health was a key concern for them. So during a pandemic, of all times, they created a mental health summit. Through the methodology of community organising, they engaged over 12 schools across the city and secured a meeting with the local MP, Paul Bristow. Since September 2020, these students created a Peterborough Citizens Young Actions team to campaign for mental health. They have achieved incredible results in such a short space of time. And I would like to introduce some of these students tonight, alongside our local MP, who will be sharing a presentation of good work they have been undertaking on mental health in our city. So I call upon students from Peterborough Citizens Youth Team to now present on the incredible work they have been involved in for mental health services in Peterborough. So I hand over to Amira.
Hello everyone, my name is Amira and I'm a senior prefect at Thomas Deacon Academy. So from patronised to powerful, I never thought that at 17 years old, my voice would be part of initiating change. Like many other young people, I feel like we were quite used to the idea that adults always are the decision makers because they always had more power to do so. However, when working with Peterborough Citizens UK, our mental health action team have learned that this is definitely not the case. The community organising training we have received as a result of our work alongside Peterborough Citizens UK has allowed us to actively make change in the mental health services in Peterborough even before we have been given the power to vote. Our dedication and passion have allowed us to move past the initial stage of being patronised, as we have demonstrated our professionalism and how serious we are about wanting change for youth mental health services in our city. This has allowed us to work alongside our local MP, Paul Bristow, and Catherine Goose, Clinical Commissioning Manager for Youth Mental Health at the Clinical Commissioning Group. Who have listened to our concerns throughout this project, and they have supported us to make change. I think the most important thing that us young people have taken from this project is to believe in our own voices and our ability to be part of change, and to me, that is very powerful. I will now be passing on to Charlotte. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Charlotte and I'm a senior prefect at the Peterborough School. And I believe the main reason for our success is people power. As students from 5 different schools, we came together and organised together to unite. We are a diverse group of young people who all have varying reasons and motivations for joining this team, but we have all joined together to share our vision to improve the services within our city. Throughout this process, we have listened to over 500 students, enabling us to gain better understanding of the needs of the young people in our city, allowing us to narrow down our vision to improving access and funding for young people's mental health services. We got the attention of the MP and a senior clinical commissioning group member by joining forces together and creating Young People Power, something I never thought was possible before getting training in community organising. The CCG said they were going to make changes to the young people's mental health services, but without speaking to the young people themselves first. Peterborough Citizens has enabled us to bridge this gap, ensuring the voices of marginalised people are heard when policies are being changed. Catherine Goose from the CCG has been wonderful to work with and taking on our advice so far. Hi Catherine, it's great to see that you've joined us this evening, and I will now be passing on to Rebecca.
Good evening, my name is Rebecca and I am from the King's School. Perseverance is a key part of our action. We've met frequently since November, sharing ideas, planning and next steps. We always have a very clear set of aims once the meeting is finished, which orientates our goals towards the outcomes. Everyone in the team had varied motivations for joining. Despite this, we all share the common goal of creating change within Peterborough for accessibility and funding of mental health services. Our unique viewpoints and perspectives allow us to contribute in dynamic ways. Some of the leadership skills we have developed are writing agendas, scripting, presenting, negotiating, and pinning, which are all highly valuable. Having our work come to fruition is one of the most rewarding parts of our experience. For example, gaining the attention of BBC Cambridgeshire and having our questions and ideas heard in Parliament through MP Paul Bristow. We wanted to actively make a change to mental health services and work on the stigma of mental health. We are not only in discussions with the CCG to improve the website, which was not used by young people, but we have also asked Paul Bristow MP to ensure Peterborough has the correct funding for our needs. There are £79 million being invested into mental health services nationally, and we are working with our local MP to find out whether the correct amount is coming to Peterborough. I will now hand over to MP Paul Bristow, who will discuss the achievements of working together with the Peterborough Citizens Youth Team. You have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you very much indeed. And I know you guys are a stickler for timing, so I'll keep it within 2 minutes. But what became clear to me when I started working with you is that mental health services for young people in my city, quite frankly, isn't good enough. It's not good enough in terms of accessibility. It could do with more funding, there's no doubt about that. And often, not always, often the service itself sometimes can be better. And I know this, my father, for a long period of time, was the manager of the Cedars, which is a centre for child and adolescent psychiatry at Peterborough District Hospital. But what I will say, what has been achieved is has been significant. They have got quantitative and qualitative data from young people, making sure that the services that will be hopefully improved will be user-led and user-designed services. They've got that direct engagement with the CCG, which is incredibly impressive. We put down questions together to the minister, to the schools minister, and to the Prime Minister themselves. And we've worked through my role on the Health and Social Care Select Committee, making sure that young people's voices and young people's voices from Peterborough were heard. I have also written to the new the Youth Mental Health Ambassador, Dr. Alex. Those of you who may have watched Celebrity Love Island will know who that gentleman is. And we've also I've written to the CEO of Youth Access, as someone who has designed best practice services, and hopefully we can get them to speak to us at some time in the future. This has quite simply been one of the best things that I've done so far as the local MP. I've really, really enjoyed it, and the young people here make me proud of Peterborough. Just reflect on some things that have also been said, because I don't think Peterborough's a downtrodden city at all, or left behind. I think it's a super city with super young people living in it, and we are the beating heart of Cambridgeshire, and we've proved that. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the students for a wonderful and thought-provoking presentation. And wow, I think if these are our future, then our future is quite amazing. Next, Kim Coley from Soul Happy will now present her story of how she became a member of Peterborough Citizens. Kim?
Hi everybody. Yeah, my name is Kim Coley. I'm the director of Soul Happy, and we run wellbeing and sustainability projects and services here in Peterborough. During this pandemic, we lost one of our own volunteers to suicide, and she'd reached out for help through local and national services numerous times, and unfortunately this was not enough. And you have to excuse me, I get a little bit nervous when talking about this because it's affected us quite badly. In her last few minutes of her life, I was fortunate enough to speak to her on the phone, and I tried various avenues to stop her ending her life, but she told me there was nothing I could say or do to stop her. And in those last few moments, I made a promise to her that I would help make a difference to the mental health services here in our city. And even though we know that our friend had autonomy over her own life, and so many people in the overstretched system are doing their best in so many ways, we just know this isn't enough. And our communities and friends just feel so frustrated that the services let her down, and we just know things had to change. Plus we wanted to make a difference. And some of the group thought about writing letters to their MP, protest, do petitions, but we know that alone, and just our few single voices without a clear and effective plan, just may not get heard in that sea of noise and chaos of all the issues, and especially obviously during a pandemic. And it was a big promise that I'd made to improve mental health services. And as most of our community achievements have been initially sparked and fueled from pain and suffering or injustices in this city or on the planet, we just knew alone that we couldn't do it. And we know we're better together, and we know that we had to unite with a lot more people in some way. And yeah, it's really easy to feel powerless in these situations, especially whilst dealing with some of our own mental health issues. But yeah, we know we're better together. So it was time to share my very good friend's tragic story, and to start the ball rolling within our communities, and to turn these really raw emotions and frustrations into and anger into effective action, So interestingly, a few weeks before my friend's suicide, I'd completed what's called community organising training held by Peterborough citizens. And I knew that if I involved our organisation and communities, we could gather more power and momentum together, and with other organisations towards change, and with a plan and a process that's been proven to work. I don't know if Dilraj has already mentioned, or someone's already mentioned, that Citizens UK are part responsible for the living wage, and I didn't know that before, so that's amazing. And as a third sector non-profit in the midst of a pandemic ourselves, I wasn't sure how we'd pay for the membership for Peterborough citizens, yet after just openly and vulnerably sharing my friend's suffering and suicide and our promise to her, it just touched so many people, and within just a few hours we ended up crowdfunding the membership fees, which was amazing. We organised our community training, we asked real questions and listened to the real issues, and so much was obviously highlighted around mental health. We forwarded these issues to Peterborough Citizens Delegates Assembly in February, and we realised we weren't alone in our issues of mental health. Other organisations also highlighted the real drastic need for improvements in many different ways too. Soul Happy joined the campaign team, and then since then we've just been researching and planning how to make a difference for mental health services in Peterborough. In society, we feel that there's only a few options in the way that we can participate in democracy. A few options to share our voice in the system, to vote, to message our council members, to vent on social media and protest. And more often than not, so many of these options do not create long-term change within our society.
We can grow really weary of protests with no change as a result. And we can grow really tired of writing letter after letter to our council members, often with no change as a result. And as we've heard from these amazing students, this effective Citizens UK community organising methodology has given real power to those that are actually traditionally patronised. Young people, actually with no power to vote yet, have been able to engage in politics effectively, having more authentic conversations with decision makers and been respected and valued in their approach. And as we gain momentum ourselves too, I really hope that we can follow suit of the Peterborough Citizens Youth Team. We can learn from them on how we can be trained as leaders to have the power to make real change. And what I continue to learn, especially recently from these young people, is that we can make great change. Perhaps not alone, but together as an organised society, we can do what's called, sorry, my screen's just flashed. We can do what's called listening and planning, negotiating with decision makers, and then evaluate to make this great city even greater. So thank you for listening to me. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to now ask you to all take part in a quick poll. So in just a few seconds, an anonymous poll will pop up on your screen, and it will ask you, how have you participated in democracy? How have you participated in democracy? So this is a multiple, you can put, so as you see this on your screen, we ask you to vote. So you can vote more than for one option. You can highlight as many options that are relevant to you. And we just do this as quickly as possible so that Dilraj and the team can collate this and summarize it for us. So you should all be able to, you should all have this pop-up poll quickly as you can. Thank you, everybody. Oh, thank you for your comments as well. I'm really grateful. So as you can see, the poll results pop up. Can you all see that, hopefully? So 73% of you vote. That's the top mark. That's the top result, shortly followed by 62% of people that have signed a petition, but nothing has changed. Thank you very much. So we'll be doing a little bit more on this at a later date. But for now, we will move on. So our goal here is to increase people's democratic interaction within the city of Peterborough. And an awesome quote that Dilraj inspired me with last week, it's by Olive Walker, and it says, the most common way people give up their power is by thinking that they don't have any. I'll just say that again. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking that they don't have any. Just want a moment for that to like sink in with everybody. It's really powerful. And Peterborough Citizens has shown students how they can engage in democracy and politics, as can you, in ways that we never thought were achievable. So thanks, everybody. Let's bring true democracy to our city of Peterborough.
Thank you so much, Kim, for sharing your story. Through each of our organisations over the past 8 months, we have shared personal stories to hear what is putting pressure on us and the people we care about. Through this listening campaign, we supported and trained over 50 people in listening and conducted 1,000 conversations. From here, we identified the key problems and then spent 2 months in research teams to develop specific asks we would like the next mayors to deliver on. I would like to introduce 2 Peterborough Citizens leaders who have been leading on the campaign for mental health and crime and safety. Michelle Lay will introduce herself and present the work we have been doing for the mental health campaign.
Hi, my name is Michelle Lay and I'm an integrative psychotherapist working at the Peterborough School. I'm also Clinical Services Director for Young People's Counselling Service. We are a child mental health charity with 11 therapists which cover Peterborough and areas of Cambridgeshire. Over 15 organisations from across the city came together in November 2020 to listen to the people of Peterborough through our 3-month listening campaign. During the listening campaign, over 2,000 voices were heard. At our delegates' assembly, over 100 people attended and the following issues were brought to light: crime and safety, housing, racism, and mental health. Our decision-making process highlighted both crime and safety and mental health as the main issues, thus creating our initial campaign. Out of housing, racism, mental health and crime and safety, mental health was voted the top issue. We listened to each other, spoke to the people in our organisations. These are made up of businesses, third sector organisations, college, university, school staff and leaders, trade unions, faith groups and our community. We heard stories, we read testimonials and were then able to choose the 3 main topics of overriding concern in adult mental health. I'm sure you can imagine the challenge narrowing this down. The COVID-19 pandemic has seen unprecedented numbers of our community experiencing mental ill health. A pre-COVID paper produced by Cambridgeshire County Council and Peterborough City Council Public Health called Working Together for Mental Health in Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, a 5-year plan, predicted 25% or 1 in 4 adults with common mental health disorders would be accessing services. This is now 1 in 3 with no long-term infrastructure in place. This is a crisis. The 3 main points we want to propose for your consideration are: 1, the long wait times to be seen by a mental health practitioner for assessment. This is currently 126 days for adults. This does not take into account the impact of the pandemic, which has increased these wait times. 2, the need for mental health trained staff present in A&E and the stressful experiences we've heard from people who have attended A&E in a mental health crisis. 3, the equity of funding and service delivery across the county. Is this fairly distributed to need in each area, including the transition from child to adult services? This highlights the difference across the county and how this transition is managed. Young people are transferred to adult services in 17 unless they have an eating disorder, which is 18, in comparison to areas across the county where services are available to 25 years. We have Louise tonight sharing their testimony about how they have suffered in the system in Peterborough with mental health issues.
Thank you. We'll go on to crime and safety. James, thank you.
Hi, James Metham, Deputy Head of Sixth Form at Thomas Deacon Academy, and I've been leading the crime and safety campaign. The crime and safety team have been working hard over the past couple of months, completing research, community walks, analysing data, gathering testimony through further listening, and building links with key stakeholders around Central Park, the specific area of focus for our campaign. Our findings revealed that many people have negative perceptions of Central Park. At dusk or after dark, many adults feel unsafe in and around the park due to dark areas. There are many crime hotspots around the park, including a worrying hotspot between the exits of 2 large education providers. But something that seems to come up time after time is young adults and teenagers do not feel safe or confident to visit the park, especially alone. The focus on young people's safety is essential considering there are large education providers that exit onto the park. A large proportion of the Peterborough Citizens organisations provide services for young people, and the young people are, of course, the future of Peterborough. It can therefore be highlighted that our campaign is focusing around creating more advantageous lighting and strategically placed CCTV, as well as providing positive and safe environments for young people in the park. We know Central Park is a great park in terms of its physical environment as an example, but many people have had and continue to face issues surrounding safety, so we are striving to make Central Park an even better place. We also know other park stakeholders are watching this campaign closely because we firmly believe we are setting the standard and creating a model and inspiring other parks to follow in our footsteps. Central Park is a great park, let's make it greater.
As Michelle and James have highlighted, although our listening this year has highlighted two top areas of issue which do not directly interlink with the mayoral competencies of housing, public transport, education, and supporting business, we know that mental health and crime and safety have close correlations with your competencies. We are also aware that you have a convenient power and influence to help us open doors so we can negotiate with the right decision makers to create change in the issues we have highlighted in mental health and crime and safety. We are also aware that in our forthcoming years, issues which are directly under your competencies may also be our priority. As this action today is to create a relationship with our mayoral candidates so we can work together to better our city, we would like to ask each of our mayoral candidates, if elected, how can you help make progress in these top issues? The Conservative mayoral candidate, James Palmer, you have 3 minutes to share, if elected, how can you help make progress in these top issues?
Yes, thank you. The mental health issue is something that's quite close to my heart. My wife has just retrained to become a counsellor, and she impresses on me on an almost daily basis the investment that's necessary into mental health in this country, and the ability for us to work through the crisis that I think will come out of COVID in mental health is hampered significantly by the amount of practitioners across the country. As you say, the mayor has absolutely no responsibility at all when it comes to health and no powers, but what we do have are the soft powers of being able to convene. And I would certainly be very interested in working alongside the MP Paul Bristow and the Clinical Commissioner Group here in Peterborough, as well as the local council, to try and make sure that we are engaged firstly in the process, but also our ability to influence central government. We have a Conservative government, of course, a Conservative MP. If I'm elected, we will have a Conservative mayor, and our ability to then influence central government to get the funding necessary to tackle this crisis, I think, will be greater. And it's something, as I said, that investment into mental health care now and save the NHS significant amounts of money in the future. And I think that's something that I believe that government are fully aware of. I understand, I've spoken with Matt Hancock about this. Clearly, the NHS has concentrated very heavily on the pandemic over the past year, but reform of the NHS and investment into mental health, I think, is something that is going to on the police and crime side, again, we have a police and crime commissioner election. Darryl Preston is the outstanding candidate for the Conservative Party in that election. I've always worked very closely with our police and crime commissioner, but I was very interested in your points around Central Park. And there are ways that the combined authority can help raise money for small investments such as lighting that can make a massive difference. So again, working alongside Peterborough City Council, working alongside the Police and Crime Commissioner, and working alongside this group, there's certainly opportunities for us to put that investment in that may well make the difference and make it safer. So again, I'll mention it, I'm absolutely delighted that this group has been formed, because it will help, if I'm re-elected, it will help me make right decisions to improve the parts of Peterborough that are suffering from crime problems.
Thank you. The Conservative mayoral candidate, the Labour mayoral candidate, Dr. Nick Johnson, you have 3 minutes to share, if elected, how can you help make progress in these top issues?
Let's go on to
Sorry. Hello, I'm sorry, I apologise now, I realise. My apologies. I'm delighted to hear all the work that has been talked about so far. At essence, I'm sure you may have heard the phrase, no decision about me without me, because that is essentially what you're articulating as a group as to how you want service delivery and to be, serving you as the population in Peterborough. And I think on this, we may find that all three candidates are very similarly placed. We all acknowledge that mental health services are chronically underfunded and have not had the recognition within clinical commissioning groups, be that in Cambridgeshire or indeed UK-wide, of parity, of recognising. Lots of money has been put into development around cardiac care, cancer care, but the issue of mental health has often been seen as what's referred as a Cinderella service. I am very, very pleased that the message that you are giving as a community, and you are actually articulating, we want better services, that chimes wholeheartedly with what I've been saying for the last 5 years. Indeed, I presented an article to central government at one point about there was a lack of acknowledgement of the tsunami of mental health problems that was happening to the youth, the children of today. Look, you have to work collaboratively. I talked about the idea of 3 C's. Compassion is about listening. You know, mental health problems are due to many, many factors. It can be troubles within the educational environment. It can be about poverty. It can be about family. And, you know, we have to be able to work across all organisations. But as we're doing that collaborative working, we mustn't forget the message that you are putting there, because it's very good, you know, for all of us to kind of have some investment. But if we haven't designed services that are right for you, in other words, no decision about me without me. So if I'm learning, if I'm hearing anything, this seems a very, very good forum to be feeding in to as money comes from central government, as money is actually coming from the public health budget, which is devolved to the mayoral role of combined authority. We need to be coming back to you, citizens like yourself in Peterborough, in Cambridgeshire, and working with the Cambridge and Peterborough Foundation Trust. And as one final note, and I've made it clear in my campaign, is that I see it as a role, as when we're sitting down as a board, with hopefully myself as the lead, we will make sure that at every single meeting, I am absolutely planning for a public health specialist. I have quite a lot of basis in public health myself from my medical training, but I don't pretend that I've got all the expertise. And I would like to see a public health specialist sitting at the table every time. So when we're making decisions about housing, when we're making decisions about transport, we are feeding in specifically with the expertise around the table. So thank you for sharing all the information. Thank you for caring about mental health problems in your community as much as I care for them. And
thank you. Sorry, thank you, Dr. Nick Johnson. I will now move on to the Liberal Democrat mayoral candidate, Aidan van der Veer.
Thank you very much.
3 minutes. If elected, how can you help make progress in these top issues?
Yeah, thank you. What you've presented here is really effective. It's the very focused asks and the engagement process that you've gone through gives a lot of credibility in a way that authorities are going to not be able to avoid engaging with you on these. On mental health, things are really bad at the moment. I think pretty much everyone has had a hard time one way or another over the last 14 months, and that's been particularly bad amongst young people with education disrupted, uncertainty about sort of the process of exams, for example, and the sort of the way that social development has been curbed. I mean, the impact of this is going to last for years. In terms of what I would be able to do directly, I've been talking a lot about the need for career support throughout school life and beyond. And there's one particular issue around where young people have had mental health difficulties, then transitioning back into sort of mainstream education or into sort of the world of work, that there is very limited support there. Given the remit of the mayor, that I would be able to put in place a specific support there to help people not sort of fall out of the system at those vulnerable sort of those points in transition where you're particularly vulnerable. I mean, another major thing is about mental health is around the importance of seeing a future for yourself and your community, and the sort of job prospects and the quality of housing is an important part of that, and the sort of business engagement that I was talking to in the breakout group was really helpful in that. On crime, the mayor has an important role in investing in the quality of places, supporting places more broadly, and that's fear of crime and actual crime, I think, is an important part of that. sort of to crime more broadly, I think it's helpful here. For example, we need more neighbourhood priority setting for policing, for example. And the way that policing is done, sort of with consent and without discrimination, I think would really help people then work more closely with the police, and sort of focus on victims. So then you're trying to, as much in terms of policing, trying to avoid crime rather than just thinking about in terms of enforcement. But that is, as we've discussed, I think really something that we need to work closely between the councils and other bodies responsible for the places and the police services.
Thank you so much for your responses. And one more ask. Mayoral candidate Aidan van der Veer, if you are elected as mayor for Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, will you meet with Peterborough citizens within 6 months of being elected to review progress on the issues outlined here tonight?
It would be an enormous pleasure to meet you again in 6 months' time. That would be amazing.
Thank you. Mayoral candidate Dr. Nick Johnson, if you are elected as mayor of Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, will you meet with Peterborough citizens within 6 months of being elected and review progress on the issues outlined tonight?
You're mute again, Nick.
Sorry, my apologies. It would be an absolute pleasure, and I'd hope it was in a lot quicker than 6 months, if I'm honest. Your Peterborough's people power, the 3 Ps, seem to me linking perfectly with what I believe in and want to campaign for: compassion, cooperation, and community. Thank you. It will be less than 6 months, I guarantee.
Thank you. And mayoral candidate James Palmer, if you are elected as mayor of Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, will you meet with Peterborough citizens within 6 months of being elected to review progress on the issues outlined here tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you my phone number. You can call me whenever you like. As I said, this is a breath of fresh air from Peterborough, as far as I'm concerned. And if elected, I cannot wait to work more closely with you.
Thank you. We have taken note of your accountability and look forward to meeting you in 6 months or before. Thank you.
Thank you, Althea. Well, thanks everyone for attending tonight. It's been a fantastic evening. Thank you to all of you for all of your contributions. I'd like to particularly thank our 2 fantastic young people who've co-chaired this event tonight. Althea and Alicia, they've done a brilliant job, and a round of applause to them. Thanks guys for being involved. We've achieved such a lot in a short space of time, and Peterborough Citizens was launched in September 2020, and it has grown so much and developed so significantly in the last 7 months.
Tonight is an important marker in the life of your community organising alliance, but it is the beginning, not the end, of our community collective work. To have an impactful change, a change that really makes a difference to people's lives, it is not numbers that matters, but the organised nature of people, however small in numbers they may be. As the Abrahamic faith communities know so well, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace be upon them all, started a drive for change as individuals who organised a group, and together they drove for an egalitarian society. The personal responsibility, vision, and organisation are fundamental to this change. And I can say that the people of the city of Peterborough, with the guidance of Citizens UK, are showing the way towards a brighter future for our city.
Thanks, Hamid. This was our first assembly, and it was fantastic to hear from our 3 mayoral candidates and to hear their vision and hear about their priorities. Tonight, we demonstrated that Peterborough Citizens has the power to reinvigorate democracy and set a different, more respectful way of doing politics. Respectful conversations, challenging questions, and thought-provoking discussions. All of us as individuals have a role to play in this change, and I urge you not to leave this to someone else. Our community needs us to be involved, to be organisers, influencers, to act and hold those people in power to account. We've got a lot of issues that we need to deal with. We also have a lot of opportunities within this city, and we've heard about some of those issues this evening. The need to improve mental health support, the need to deal with issues around crime and safety, and the importance of supporting the most vulnerable people in our society. These issues often are interrelated, and the impact of them can be significant on individuals and on communities. And I truly believe that by working collaboratively, working together, we can really make a difference and bring about positive change.
Thanks, Rachel. And here's how you can all get involved. Number one, please make sure you vote on the 6th of May. Very important. Democratic right. Please talk to 10 people in your organization about what happened tonight. Join us for the introduction to the organization training on 13th of July between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Please fill out a short Google form. I think Dilwaj will pop it up in the chat where you can find out more. And also, again, the email should be in the chat, but you can email and join our mailing list and to find out more. See Google Docs link in the chat, yeah. We will now conduct a short and fun evaluation. Please feel free to stay for this or enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much for your commitment for bettering our city. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Hello, thank you everyone. If you want to go and enjoy the rest of the evening, or we have about 11 minutes, we would really welcome you to join our very short evaluation. Also, please do share the Google Docs link for everyone who you'd like to also share it with. You can forward it on to people. So just to introduce myself, I am Dilwaj Kaur, the organizer of Peterborough Citizens, and what a fantastic event this evening. We had, I believe, almost 160 people at one point in the call, so what a fantastic demonstration of people power. So well done to all our leaders who brought their member organisations today. So I'd just like to just conduct a short evaluation. The first question I have for all of you, and please put this in the chat, is how do you feel? How do you feel right now? In one word, how are you feeling right now? So be free, be authentic, put it in the chat. Empowered, inspired, on a high, encouraged, impressed, relieved, inspired, impressed, inspired, inspired. Great. Buoyed up. I'm going to assume he said it like that. Waiting, motivated, enthusiastic, happy. Lots of lovely synonyms of inspired. Emotions are so important and should be acknowledged, and it's okay for there to be a range, for you to be inspired or waiting or relieved. This is a part of our feelings and turning that anger into action. How about turnout? How did we feel about turnout today? So like I said, at one point, I'd say we were quite consistent, 140 throughout the event. In terms of turnout, how did you feel it was? And I'd like to say 1 as terrible, 10 as that was brilliant. So let's see what you have. Just put that in the chat. So I'm getting amazing, 9, 10, 9, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 9. Let's go with a happy 9 there. That's brilliant. Okay, excellent. So turnout determines 90% of the success of action, and power is the ability to act. And we exert our power through organised people acting together. So turnout is highly important. The more people we have, power we can represent. So 170, before we're even an official alliance, give yourself a round of applause. That is brilliant. Well done to all our leaders, just fantastic. You're creating this people power, just as the candidates have said, that is needed. We've got an appetite for it. So brilliant, excellent. Okay, third question, what worked well? So you can put it in the chat, but I might do the teacher thing. Just, you know, I was a teacher for 10 years, so I might just pick on somebody and say, what worked well tonight? So I am going to ask Daniel, what worked well tonight? Just unmute yourself. It always helps to get heard.
Yeah, sorry. I really like the breakout rooms because it gave you an opportunity to actually reflect on what had been said and to engage with people who have the same passion for change that you have. So that's what I really liked about tonight.
Wonderful,
yeah.
Thank you. Could I hear from Bijou, please?
Yeah, I thought Kim's story was very powerful, and I think that really went right to the heart of it. This is a real story about real people, and what we're doing is not about abstract. It's about changing lives.
Thank you so much, Chris. And as always, when we reflect on what worked well, we've also got to talk about what we could have improved. What could we have done to improve today? So please put it on the chat as well, what do you think could have been improved? The only way we can learn is by thinking about the lessons we need to learn as well. So let's hear from you. If you want to unmute yourself, you can. If not, please feel free to put it on the chat. Yeah, an easier advert to invite people. Yeah, a few more minutes in the breakout. Yeah, and having questions as part of the interactive discussion. Yeah, great, fantastic. And a willingness for others to come. Yeah, great, okay. Wonderful. Yeah, breakout rooms are always one of the most popular. All right, let's go on to the next question. Who did particularly well tonight? Let's give shout outs here. So put it in the chat if you want to unmute yourself. Who did you think, wow, that was impressive? The chairs, the students, Althea and Kim, students and all the hosts, wonderful. James Metham, brilliant. Kim, Althea, Charlotte, well done. Rebecca, the students, excellent, well done. Real shout out to everyone. You may hear my kids' bedtime right now, so apologies in advance. It's always the most fun time of the evening. Okay, so did we get the reaction we wanted from our mayoral candidates? Yes or no? Let's just put that in the chat. So did we get the reaction we wanted? Yes, mainly yes, 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 yes. So we wanted them to support us with our campaigns, and they all said yes and really felt like this was needed in the city. So yeah, that was really, really hopeful. Thank you for sharing that. Great. Okay, how many people did something new today? So let's see that in an emoji. So let's have a look at your emoji, your reactions. Who did something new today or participated in something new? So you can put it in an emoji or put it in a chat. So yeah, our students, so shout out to Alicia and Althea, first time they hosted this event, so well done. And to James as well, and Michelle, who said this is the first time they partook as leaders in something like this as well. Fantastic. Anyone else, please feel free to put that in the chat as well. So let's ask Michelle, how do you feel? You said earlier, this was like the first time you partook in an event like this. Unmute yourself and tell us how you feel about that.
Yeah, it was really nerve-wracking to start with, but just felt amazing and was good to share.
Why did it feel amazing, Michelle? What was it about it that felt amazing?
I was sharing the voice of everybody within our group, and felt really, really important that it was everybody's voices, and it was just really nice to be able to do that for everybody.
Thank you, Michelle. Althea, how do you feel? First time representative from St John Fisher, first time chairing. How are you feeling about that?
I feel grateful and privileged. I think these kind of opportunities really boost your confidence, especially when it comes to speaking in public, and being able to coordinate such a large amount of people coming together as a community and voicing our opinions for the betterment of our city. I feel really, really happy being a part of this. So thank you to you for giving me this opportunity, and thank you to everybody who was here who made it so much more easier for me to do it. And of course, my co-chairs.
Yeah. Well done. And Althea, how do you feel like your students or any other students have been able to hold an assembly with co-chairing with other CEOs and directors and mayoral candidates and MPs before?
I mean, no, I have had the opportunity of chairing the meeting with MP Portchester before, but I feel this is a completely different experience. And again, as I said, my co-chairs just made it so much more easier for me to do it. And again, without them, it wouldn't have been this easy for me. So thank you to everybody once again.
Thank you, Althea. So, are we more powerful as a team than we were before the action started today? So how do you feel? Let's put that in the chat. Are we more powerful today? I'll put that, so this is question number 6. Are we more powerful as a team than we were before the action started today? Yes, more collaborative. Yes, absolutely. Fiona, let's hear from you. So how do you feel about that?
Thank you, Dilraj. Thanks for picking up me. Yeah, I think it's a very positive event, and astounded by the numbers. It was fantastic to see, and for ARU Peterborough to be involved in the event. So really, really good, and great to see that the issues are going to be tackled. And you can see real sincerity as well from the mayoral candidates as well to say that they really want to tackle these issues, because they're not just for our region, but they're national. And it'd be great to actually see Peterborough being a world leader, global leader in supporting mental health and really tackling that, because it's connected with health inequalities and education, and it's very much something I'd love to see Peterborough putting the map for.
And I'd like to ask Julie Taylor, are you here? Because Julie's been here from the start of, as well with Rachel, seeing this on the first discussions of, is this going to happen, to today. So Julie Taylor, are you in the room to unmute yourself and give some feedback? Are we stronger, more powerful today than before the action?
It seems to kind of work fine to start with, doesn't it? And then it starts going silly. But...
I'm unsure. Rachel, do you want to take that question? Because you were both there from the start.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic few months, hasn't it? And culminating in a great evening this evening. We've just got to make sure that we keep the foot on the pedal, don't we? And we keep moving forward, and we hold our leaders to account. Class myself in that, in terms of my organisation, and so there's still much work to be done. But I feel super hopeful. I think we've had a fantastic turnout. I think we've had a fantastic evening. We've got to keep going. We've got to keep moving forward. We've got to keep on applying that pressure and raise the bar, because we can talk about economic inequality, but it starts actually with all of those other things first. And we've got to have that infrastructure around the basics, the health, the mental health agenda, the crime, the safety, how our communities live, interact with each other. Tackling those issues will lead to all those other positive change that we want to see. So yeah, hopeful, more work to do.
Great, thank you, Rachel. Spot on, because this is just the start. We haven't even officially launched as an alliance, and this is just the start of building those relationships. And in every action, there's also an internal reaction as leaders, and we need to reflect on that. And we should emerge stronger every action as well. So, you know, our first action we had around 80, then around 100. Today we only hit, hitting 170. We need to emerge stronger from every action. And I'd just like to end by asking everyone, what are the next steps? Can you write them in the chat? So have you, this is a penultimate question, do you know what the next steps are now, from today? What are the next steps? Can you put that in the chat? Voting, yeah, vote on 6th of May. Promote, raise awareness, get into action, perfect, yep. And continue to build people power to address the big issues. Yes, that is, we saw voting as one way of engaging in politics. This is now a new way of engaging. So deepening the engagement whilst organising, continue to campaign with Peterborough citizens, and then ensuring that we are also holding account as well. Fantastic. And strengthening this alliance. Excellent. So just to end, let's grade the action overall. How would you grade it? So A being wow, perfect, F being meh, could have done a bit better. Let's give it a grade on the chat. A star, B, excellent. I think that's brilliant. Brilliant. Well done, everyone. That is an absolutely brilliant action today. Thank you to all the leaders and let's be in touch. So one big thing is please fill out this Google form over here. Please pass it on to people. Can you bring 10 people to our next action? We have a training in July. Schedule that into your diaries and get in touch with me if your organisation wants to join the Alliance or you want to be part of the campaign team. So well done everyone, well done to our chairs and our leaders, and we shall meet soon. If the Peterborough Citizens leaders could just sit tight for about 5 minutes, that would be wonderful.
Could I just do a very quick shout out to Amelia from Peterborough School, that's been our social media lead tonight. So you go on Twitter. Amelia, well done.
Well done, Amelia. The media is always in the background, not taking credit for anything. So yeah, well done, Amelia. You've done an absolutely brilliant job. So thank you. And thanks to everyone. So good night, everyone. If I could just ask the Peterborough Citizen leaders just to hold on. And the rest of you, will be in touch soon.
Well done, Dilraj. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice evening, everybody.
Have a lovely evening, Althea. Well done.
Thank you so much, Dilraj.
Thank you. So AIU, Peterborough College, Theme Park Trust, Peterborough Cathedral, TDA, Unison. Daniel, if you could just help me with people there, that would be great.
It's tough to do an evaluation with 90. It's probably the largest evaluation I think I've seen.
Sorry, I am removing people who I know have not been part of the organising team. Right, that, my friend, should be it. And I'm leaving the 3 organisers who are kind of half, yeah.
So Hannah, James and Foy are Citizens UK organisers, and you're welcome to listen in on us. So, yeah. Okay, how are you feeling as people that have put this together? Rachel in particular, and the people that were there even before I was, as a organizer, being hired as an organizer. Tim, you who founded all of this, let's start off with you. How are you?
I feel absolutely fantastic. It feels like the end of a cycle tonight. I know, of course, it isn't in many senses, but to get to where we are in the short space of time that we've had is astonishing, really. I think 170 people, and I think the candidates I think they were kind of bowled over, to be honest, by what, you know, I don't quite know what they were expecting tonight. But I think, you know, they've gone away, you know, thinking, my word, this is serious. We're going to need to up our game. Maybe, well, I can say that. So extraordinary, really. I you know, and it is, organising is all about cycles, isn't it? And we're at the end of something, we're at the beginning of something.
You're on mute. It was always going to happen, Dilraj. No, wait, you're still on mute. It's been a long evening.
I did it. Matthew, how are you?
Yeah, good. And apologies that I was a little late, but no, I think all credit, particularly to you and the organisers, to the really wonderful young team that was supported, and I think that the strength of this evening's event, and I think one of the reasons that you will have been taken so seriously by the candidates and those people that have attended this evening is the breadth of the people attending, the interests of the people attending, the focus on young people, which is so powerful. Yeah, and I think congratulations are very much in order for the way it was organised and the way it was choreographed and the way it was run. So very professional, but with a very people-orientated core to it, which I think was important. And I think it would have made the candidates go away and think very seriously about their connection with Peterborough citizens, regardless of who's successful in the election. I think they'll have all gone away and taken a note to keep in touch and to recognise that actually Peterborough Citizens is probably a more powerful organisation in terms of the representation it has from the people of Peterborough than perhaps they'd envisaged when they first said that they would get involved. So, but again, congratulations from me. Fantastic organisation, really well run. The IT worked really well. And to achieve 170 people is amazing. I think when I was asked how many people might attend, I think it was I think my guess was half that. So yeah, amazing. Well done.
I'm interested. Anyone else's? Tonight was a demonstration of what it is to act in public life, and it was a really thick demonstration of what does democracy look like. Although the encouragement was to vote, what does it look like to get in beyond voting? And you all demonstrated that. The testimony, the participation, the young people, the old people, the diversity, all of that was like, it's like a reimagining of what democratic life could be like. So I'm just interested in people's reflections. What have you learned about democracy through this whole process? And acting in public life from tonight. Yeah, Sarah.
One of the things that I've just been reflecting on, and we find it in churches, but it's interesting to think about it in the voting life and politics, is actually just having that conversation, listening together. And I thought it was wonderful to have a forum, a room, if you like, of people telling the stories and others, the candidates in particular, listening to them and hearing what was being said. And I would have, there's quite a lot of apathy around in society in general. So I would have thought they would be delighted to think that there is a group who is actually going to engage with them and hold them to account to a degree. But having somebody that actually wants to make changes and is going to sort of probe. So conversation, keep talking, I think, is what I've learned.
And it was welcomed, right? Like they were like, yeah, we're up for being held to account. We know that, and there was, and I thought, Rachel, you did really well in being able to probe and set the culture of what this relationship is going to develop into. Yeah, any other reflections from people?
I don't know about you, but I was a bit like, I'm super proud about what we've achieved. I'm super proud about how many people got on the call. I'm super proud about, the event and the turnout and what we talked about, and how I think we've started a really powerful discussion and a powerful relationship with the candidates. But I was actually really disappointed with some of the content, in terms of, I felt that they were underprepared, undercooked really, in terms of the level of preparation for tonight's event. Undercooked, do you know what I mean by that? And I don't know, I was just somewhat disappointed. It felt like a pretty low bar in terms of, and I know it's tough, I know it's on Zoom, I know it's 3 minutes and we're really being tight on time and so on, but
sure. We had a meeting with every single one of them. They knew what was coming up, every single question, and
wow.
And did they address it?
Well, that's the thing for me. We talk about a vision, and there's people on the call that we do stuff around, working with our staff and talking to people about in our organisations about our vision and getting people to buy into that. You've got to have. I just didn't get that level of clarity and energy, and I think that's a little disappointing, because the mayor role, and I don't think people understand the power that the mayor has in terms of devolution. People don't understand devolution, and it is a very, very influential position, and I think it's, I just want I wanted a bit more, I think, from me, but then maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a a glass half full person sometimes. I just felt I wanted a bit more substance, a bit more passion, a bit more commitment, a bit more, yeah, you know, oomph, and I didn't get it.
Yeah, I think Rachel, you're absolutely right. I think we all probably felt that to some extent. I think one of the things, I think, in answer to Daniel's question, I mean, one of the things that I mean, voting is one thing, right? So we all vote, we all get out and vote by and large. But I think the fact that there are so many people, you know, talking about a single issue or one or two issues from a diverse background, I think that really has an impact, and I think that's shown today with the mayoral candidates, that they're, as I said, you know, as some of you said, that they were suddenly, you know, didn't know what to expect and were overwhelmed, I think, to some extent, you know, with the kind of questioning and commitments that were being asked for them to make. And I think the fact that a group of people are all talking about this from this diverse background, I think it made all the difference, I reckon. And I think that, to me, was a real powerful thing and really show force there.
I got a few private messages since we finished from people on the call who said that they felt that the students were better and more articulated their kind of stories and what they've done than some of the candidates, and that's, you know, a bit staggering, really, isn't it?
Daniel, it's really low. I don't know if you wanted to put it in the chat or something. But yeah, the students have had coaching on the power of storytelling. And we've been working really closely on how can you, this is what you felt, how can you put that into words? And that, you know, half an hour coaching with the students was so powerful. And it's interesting that politics doesn't do that traditionally. Daniel, you're writing your thing. Okay, so on Rachel's point, I think the reason the bar was so low is because they did not take you seriously, but you taught them. yeah. So yeah, I don't think they had thought. Michael, you wanted to say a bit on that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, you know, especially because we watched that video of the London equivalent a couple of weeks or months ago, and you know, I felt that there was just a complete difference in the professionalism of the people that they were dealing with in London as politicians versus the candidates we have tonight. And as you know, James Palmer's been there, done that, because he's obviously the current mayor. The other two didn't feel like they were experienced politicians to me, and I think we're seeing a reflection of that in the comments that were made. None of them particularly made many commitments around the mental health side of things or the crime, other than meeting with us. And I would have liked to have seen a few more commitments. You know, I think it was a great night. I think the storytelling was really powerful and got them thinking, and they were willing to work with us going forward, which is fantastic. But I wasn't particularly impressed by any of the candidates, you know, as has been said by Rachel and others.
Tim?
Two observations. One, in my breakout room, I was with somebody who, well, a mother and a son, a mother and a 19-year-old who wasn't connected really to any of our organisations, as I could see, but had come along because they genuinely wanted to hear from the candidates and find out who to vote for. You know, they were completely neutral, and it was, I thought, it's really, you know, there wasn't. Without the Citizens UK, there wouldn't have been that forum for those two adults to come and listen to candidates. And I think that's a really, really positive thing of what was provided. And I think we can talk about the low bar that was set, but I'm quite interested in the high bar that we've set now, because actually two of those people aren't going to be around in 3 weeks' time in power, and one of them is. And I guarantee that the one of them who is successful, who gets the most votes in Cambridge and Peterborough, are going to take this group far more seriously than they would have done 2 hours ago.
Yeah, completely the valid point. And like you've all mentioned, I don't think they took us seriously until this evening. And now they're impressed. That we've created a presence and we've ticked the boxes of wanting to create a shift of people power in the city, and I think they would have thought maybe 80, 90 people would have attended, not 170. So yeah, you should all be immensely proud, is what Daniel's saying, and congratulations to everyone. Enjoy your evening. Daniel, is there anything else you wanted to add? Oh, I did. On the 18th of May, let's physically celebrate this. So hopefully we can get together. I know Matthew has offered Theme Park Trust. Matthew will talk about where in Theme Park Trust we can be. I think it's a bit early for schools to let people in, but if Rachel, you did want to host it, I know I'm talking to Rick about considering it. But yeah, we'll have cake, we'll have nibbles. I'm organising not a beige buffet, but a brown buffet with samosas and stuff. So yeah, please do come on the 18th with cake and samosas, pakoras, salads, and all sorts of yummy stuff, and meeting you in person, which I haven't done yet. So I'm really excited to see, except for James. I haven't actually met any of you, so including Daniel and Tim. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all in person as well. So
And just also to say as well, dress to impress, because there's a photographer coming, because the Moments are writing up the young people's, they're leading on the young people's mental health campaign. So it'd be great to have a photograph of the sponsoring committee, and we'll also obviously take one of the young people as well. So get rid of your Zoom tracky bottoms for that day.
great. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you on 18th of May, and if not before then. So yeah, enjoy your evening.
Well done, Dilraj.
Great work, Dilraj.
Good work, everyone. I'll see you then.
Take care, Michael. Bye.
Daniel and Tim, you want to just hang on?
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Rachel, thank you. Did an awesome job, Rachel. You were brilliant.
Oh, well.
I knew you were going to be. So.
I'm not used to having such a script. It was quite... I think I would better if I just free flow, but hopefully I did okay.
You did brilliant. You were great.
Right, see you. Have a great evening, yeah?
And you. I'll call you.